If you think every important motorcycle is born under bright spotlights, loud music, and a dramatic motor show reveal, the KTM RC450 immediately proves otherwise. This bike wasn't unveiled, it was discovered. Not through teasers or launch events, but through homologation documents, the driest and most boring pathway in the automotive world. And precisely because of that, the RC deserves to be taken seriously. On paper, the RC is listed with a 449cc engine, around 56 horsepower, a claimed weight of 168 kilograms, and a top speed close to 195 kilometers per hour. Those numbers place it right in the heart of the modern middleweight sport bike segment. This is not an entry-level, fully fared bike, but it's also not stepping into full big bike territory. It sits in a class that, right now, is one of the most competitive and strategically important in the market, and all the threads inevitably lead to one motorcycle we already know well, the CFMOTO 450SR-S. The NACE RS is far from a throwaway product. It represents a clear shift in CFMOTO's global direction. Its liquid-cooled DOHC parallel twin engine uses a 270-degree crankshaft, giving it a more engaging and characterful feel than a conventional twin, whose output sits around 52 horsepower with a curb weight of roughly 171 kilograms. Beyond the numbers, the feature set is thoroughly modern. Traction control, ABS, an up-only quickshifter, and even TPMs in certain markets. This is a properly engineered middleweight sport bike, not just something designed to look fast. So, when the RC shows up with more power and less weight, the conversation changes immediately. The question is no longer whether it's based on CFMOTO hardware, but what makes the RC meaningfully different and more than just an SRS with different bodywork. Industry context matters here. Over the past few years, CFMOTO has posted surprisingly strong sales numbers in Europe, particularly in markets like France. Registration data shows their bikes aren't just selling well, they're increasingly being discussed alongside established brands, including Suzuki. That tells us something important. The SRS platform isn't a cost-cutting shortcut. It's a foundation that's already earned market acceptance. KTM clearly understands that. And realistically, KTM has no incentive to take an existing platform and resell it without real differentiation. The first obvious difference shows up in engine output. The RC is listed at roughly 56 horsepower, while the SRS sits closer to 52 horsepower. On paper, that gap doesn't look dramatic, but in this segment, a 4 horsepower difference can absolutely be felt, especially if it shows up higher in the rev range. That strongly suggests revised engine mapping, and likely changes to intake and exhaust tuning. This is where the philosophies start to separate. The CFMOTO 450SR-S is engineered to be quick, balanced, and approachable. Power delivery is strong but relatively linear, making it accessible to a wide range of riders, including those stepping up into the middleweight class. Its character is neutral, predictable, and easy to live with. The KTM RC450, judging by its development direction, appears far more focused. Higher output combined with a lower claimed weight already points in that direction. Add to that the visible changes in chassis-related components, suspension, and safety hardware seen in spy shots, including the presence of a steering damper, and the picture becomes clearer. These aren't cosmetic tweaks, they directly affect stability, feedback, and rider confidence when the bike is pushed hard. On paper, that's enough to say the RC has greater potential for sharper handling than the SRS, but the discussion can't stop at specs alone. One often overlooked factor is intended use. All signs suggest the RC is being shaped as a bike that's more comfortable being ridden aggressively. A more committed riding position, firmer suspension tuning, and an overall setup aimed at sporty riding, even light track day use, seem to be part of the plan. For riders chasing a purer sport bike experience, these differences can matter far more than a small horsepower gap. That approach, however, comes with trade-offs. As bikes become sharper and more focused, daily usability tends to drop. And this places the RC in a slightly delicate position within KTM's own lineup. It's clearly more serious than the RC390, yet it may not feel extreme enough for riders looking to make a big jump into higher displacement machines. This isn't a flaw in the product, it's a positioning challenge. KTM will need to balance sharpness with everyday usability. Questions around quality and long-term consistency also can't be ignored. Any globally produced motorcycle race's legitimate concerns about unit-to-unit and batch-to-batch consistency, not because the product is inherently bad, but because long-term standards can only be judged after thousands of bikes rack up real-world miles. In contrast, the SR-S holds one clear advantage: predictability. It's already on the road, already ridden, and its character is largely understood. And that brings us to the most honest comparison. The SR-S is a rational, well-rounded, and stable product. It delivers solid performance, modern features, and a balanced character aimed at a wide range of riders. The RC, on the other hand, is chasing something more specific: a sharper, more aggressive, more focused sport bike identity. Conceptually, that makes the RC the stronger, pure sport bike. But for now, that advantage still lives in the realm of potential, not certainty. We don't yet have real-world riding impressions, truly comparable wet weights, or final production suspension settings. Homologation data points us in a direction, but it doesn't give us the final answer. So if the question is which one is better, the answer no longer ends with "it depends on your needs." Based on what we know today, the KTM RC450 appears superior from a technical and conceptual sport bike standpoint. It offers more power, a lighter claimed weight, and a development focus that prioritizes performance. At the same time, the CFMOTO 450SR-S still holds the advantage in proving consistency and real-world predictability. The RC450 may well become the better motorcycle, but whether it truly is better will only be decided once it hits the road and is ridden without compromise. And that uncertainty is exactly what makes the RC450 so compelling. If KTM manages to translate all of this potential into a solid production bike, the RC450 won't just outperform the SR-S. It could become a new reference point in the middleweight sport bike class. If it doesn't, it will forever be measured against the platform it came from. That's not an easy test, but that's the price of ambition. If you're interested in the direction KTM is taking with the RC450, let me know what you think. Is this a smart and realistic move, or does it drift too far from what KTM used to stand for? And if you enjoy this kind of in-depth discussion, feel free to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. We'll see how this story unfolds.
As possible. This makes a huge difference when every start will be the same.